Finally, the moment a couple of you have been waiting for.
It's all like bing bong, Jack.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Duval and St. Johns County. The show for Jag fans by Jag fans.
You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.
Here are your hosts, Franklin and Michael how you say it? DeZoba. Welcome to the Jaggernaut Podcast.
All right, so we are going to do another one of these shows for you guys. We appreciate you stopping in. You know, if you don't mind, kick your shoes off, make yourself comfortable. We're going to do another Jaggernaut Podcast. The guy there on your left is Michael. I am Frank. We are your hosts.
Dude.
So
Right.
we're going to discuss the schedule. That's the purpose of this show today. The schedule came out, mid last week. I don't know, after we did our last show. And probably should talk about it. I mean, I don't think it's the greatest thing as far as it's a lot of prognosticating going on with as far as guessing how good your team's going to be, guessing how good other teams are going to be as well, and how that fits into the schedule. So we're going to discuss that in regards to the Jaguars schedule. But if you would hit like and share, if you tend to follow this show at all, we'd appreciate
And
that.
subscribe for future content, because we do put these out, I don't know, maybe once every 2 weeks or so.
And we
least we
might do
try
an
to.
episode in the future where we talk about the local Jaguar media. That has been a conversation between me and my brother today actually. And
Well, you can say recently. Today's recently.
So I'm curious, any of you Jag fans, if you guys follow some of the local media sources, and by local, what I mean by that are team sources, the actual the people who get paid by the Jacksonville.
I mean 1010XL. I think they're all bought and paid for in team stooges. Because if the Jaguars cut them off because they said something bad, there goes their revenue. Nobody's going to listen to them.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit more optimistic about it. So be interesting to see if you guys have any takes on that. So comment below and let us know what you guys think about the local media. I'm a little bit more positive about like 1010XL and people other places like that.
I'm not negative, but I don't trust them.
I
know
also
they're
like
bought. I
Jeff
know they're
Loggeman,
paid
and
for.
my brother hates him apparently.
I don't hate the man. I just don't trust the man.
He's a good personnel evaluator. That's what I'm saying.
No, he's not. Because he's not honest. He's not honest. He only gives you one side. If a guy is bad, he will never say the guy's bad. He'll say, well, he can work on his fundamentals. Well, you know what, Lagerman? So could damn everybody. So that's what makes him bad? No, please. If a guy's bad, tell me he's bad. It's not all unicorn poop.
So,
and that's what bothers me.
As you can see, we may look alike, but we definitely don't think alike.
No. Yeah, we have differences of opinions. It is weird. Sometimes we can finish each other's sentences. So sometimes we do actually think alike, but other times, no.
So what are your thoughts on NFL schedules in general? Is it kind of a waste of time to sit there and discuss this sort of stuff? Or
yes. To me, sometimes, yeah.
Well, you know what? How much is not a? I mean, if you think about it, there's so many things that you do as a NFL fan that you kind of get into. That's kind of a waste of time. Heck, for the Jag fan, the off seasons are grand.
Right. For the Jags fan, just sitting down on Sundays watching them play may be considered a waste of time. Just saying. Yeah, I mean, if we're being honest. Jeff Lagerman would never say that.
Was a waste of time.
Yeah, see, Jeff Lagerman would never say something like that. Because he's getting paid. I wouldn't say that either if the Jaguars came and paid. They could pay us. I'd be all unicorn farts. Like, let me tell you what I saw on this guy. Yeah. Oh, if Khan wants to drop some money over here, yeah, I'll be all about the Jags, singing their praises.
I think you can get some good information from some of them. Well, I
I
like
believe,
Loggeman. The rest of them, I don't care for.
And I believe you can. Okay,
At least
I
the
believe
people played by the
you
team.
can, but it's taking it with a grain of salt. It's taking what they say and then waiting to see it for myself, and then putting the two together. If they coalesce, then I agree. If they don't, then the guy's a shield for the team.
Well, let's jump into this schedule here. How about that?
Let's do this. Week 1, we are at Washington. The Washington Redskins. Oh, I'm sorry, the Commanders. Or the team.
That's a bad word, man.
Okay, let's do this. The team that must not be named.
The Commanders.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna jump right in. This is a 1 p.m. game.
What you got?
I got Jacksonville winning. This is Carson Wentz. I don't trust Carson Wentz. There's nothing in Washington that scares me. I did this schedule differently. Let me put this out there, where I did it in tiers, and I grouped like teams together in different tiers. Washington is in this tier. They're in the same tier we are, so we're capable of losing this game, but I do think we're the better team, and I think we come out of this with 1 W to start the season. Frank, what say you?
Well, first of all, just to, I've got my screen shared here, and I did all of the teams. So if you want to kind of look at that and see what I've got preliminarily speaking for the other 3 teams, I have us coming in 3rd, and Indy and Tennessee sort of a couple games ahead of us. But as you can see, when we go through this schedule, I think you'll find that we could get up there with those guys, depending upon how things break. In regards to Washington, I have us winning this game just because I think Washington last year was a better team than we were. And, it's a lot of these games are going to come down to this. How much have we improved? I think our roster, if you think about our team, our roster, you think it's worse than I do, but I would argue that we beat the Dolphins. We should have beat Cincinnati. We beat Indy. We beat the Bills. That's 4 pretty good teams right there. So I think the mark of good teams is consistency, and that comes from coaching. So now that we've got the other guy, who shall not be named, out of the building, and Doug Peterson has replaced him, I think that, who knows how good we can be. So that's a big question mark. So that being the case, I don't see Washington as being this great team. They are in some sort of transitional state. Carson Wentz, I like as a person, and believe it or not, he actually had a really good season last year, apart from the last few games. He threw 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, which is pretty good. And it's interesting though, there's a mixed review on Carson. So we played them tight in Indy, and then we beat them the brakes off of them here to end the season. So I have a hard time thinking that's not going to be a bit of a hangover for Carson. So I'm giving us the victory, even though it is in Washington.
Yep. Like I said, I put Washington in the group of us. It could go either way, but I think we have the better roster. I think we have the better quarterback. All right, so week 2. Speaking of Indy, this might
Very interesting.
This might be a Jaguar trap game right here. We get them at home. It is a 1 o'clock game. Frank, what do you got?
Well, I mean, and it may be apparent, but just in case it's not, green is a win. Red is a loss for the way that I've got it laid out. And if I have them as a win, simply put, because Indy, even without Carson, Indy does struggle here for whatever reason. It makes sense to assume that will continue. I don't see why it wouldn't. And this, if there's sort of going into this, I would say I'm predisposed a little bit to want to split with all of the teams. Being that that's the case, this seems to lay out for us to be the one game that we win against Indy, because I have a hard time thinking we're going to go into Indy and win. So therefore, I'm giving us the victory in week 2 against Indy.
All right. So I also have this as a win. However, Indy's owner was pissed that they got whooped here. I mean, mad, hot mad. I can see this being a game that is circled already on Indy's calendars. These players on Indy, they already know it. I can see Indy coming in here and doing everything they can and potentially beating us, because I have Indy in the next tier of my teams. So if they just played their game, they would beat us. And that includes here. However, I have us winning because for some reason they can't beat us here. I don't know what it is, even when we're a crappy team. So I don't know. However, I could very well see Indy coming in here so hyped, so wanting to win, that they may actually win this game. But I think if they win this game, it may cost them their season. Because looking at their schedule, they could basically blow their wad in Jacksonville. And then they have nothing for Kansas City. They have nothing for Tennessee. They have nothing for Denver. And then we get them again. This year,
maybe they even overlook Houston start the year if that's
this year, yes, and that's possible. This year, maybe it flips. I usually go 50-50. We'll take one or the other. I put this one as the win, but maybe this year Indy comes in, they give it all they got, they come away with the win, but when it comes to the rest of the season, they don't have anything left. So if that's the case, then we'll swap wins. But yeah, I have Indy winning, or I have us winning here. Yeah. Next up, we have the Chargers away. It is a 425 game. What say you?
Oh, I mean, this isn't even real. We can pretty much chalk this one up to a loss for sure. We don't play well out west. This Chargers team is a team I consider to be one of the teams to look out for in the AFC. I think they did nothing but improve. This is one of the scariest teams on our schedule, and we're playing them in their house. I just don't see it anyway. 80% chance of a loss for me.
Yeah, so I have this as a loss as well. I have this as a first loss. Again, as you alluded to, we play horrible on the West Coast. I think it's been almost 3 years. I think 3 years ago we beat LA, or we beat the Raiders out there. I think that was the last time. Last year we went out there to Seattle and completely got worked. So, and I have the Chargers not only in a tier above us, but also as an ascending team in that tier.
Yeah, so I agree with that. And just for giggles here, the way that I've kind of looking at the other teams, going into this next week 4 matchup, we're either tied with wins. We're winning the division right now, or we're tied for winning the division right now going into it. So
yeah,
could happen. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's possible. Like I said, Washington doesn't scare me. We got Indy here. If we get those 2 wins, then we started off pretty well. They always say, I think your guy Lagerman likes to say this: you break the season down into quarters. You got to win each quarter, right? If that's the case, then we tied in that quarter, right?
Was that your Jeff Lagerman voice?
Yeah, it wasn't good. Yeah, I don't do voices. Well.
So week 4, going to Philly.
I got it as a loss. I don't think Philly I have in that next tier of teams, but Philly, honestly, I think they play bigger than their roster suggests, which is why I put this as a loss. They're at home, and they always seem to play with an awful lot of heart. I don't know sometimes why they win the games they do, but they manage to pull it out and win. So I went ahead and gave it to Philly. So far, I haven't seen that kind of heart from Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's difficult to prognosticate something like that and say, oh, we're going to be this great road team.
Yep.
Especially coming off getting whooped by the Chargers makes it a little bit more difficult. This is now the second away game. And
yeah, I can see this putting us on the ropes.
Yeah,
So.
you could definitely see that. So I have the same thing. I have us losing. This is a game that I'm hopeful. I have it slightly like I'm 60% in the loss category. So it wouldn't surprise me if we came away and won this game.
Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to lose, but I'd be happy if we won the first two, and in these next two, we take them to the wire, win by a field goal or come up short in the last drive trying to score the touchdown. I'm cool losing that way. I'm just not cool getting blown out and looking like we shouldn't have even showed up.
Yeah, and I'm hoping we're not going to be that team again. But my thought is we're a team that's just trying to get to that point where we're an average NFL team, a professional football team. And I think that just if you assume that, then, and that's all we are, we're just a very average team trying to get better. Then going into this, I think the matchups, in my opinion, could favor us in respect that Jalen Hurts doesn't scare me throwing. And part of my rationale for figuring what might happen this season is us, based on what it appears to be that we're trying to do as a scheme fit or as a philosophy, we appear to be throwing everything into stopping the run. And Philly is one of these sort of, three-headed, almost every year have a 3 running back deal. Their quarterback's even kind of a running quarterback. So if we can kind of negate that, if we are successful, if we are that type of team, this could be the type of team that could go and beat a team like Philly on the road. And so that's what plus Doug Peterson, I don't know if that'll have something to do with it too. It's just, it makes me almost want to make this a win, but coming off the second road, I've got it as a loss. So I should be a tight game though.
Yeah, like I said, I'm fine with losing those last 2 games. Just for the love of God, show up.
Yeah.
Show up. Why? We should not be fans of a professional franchise. Just hoping that they show up. So week 5, we get a home game against the Texans. I think we're better than the Texans. I thought we were better last year and we got roped, came in there and they spanked us
twice.
Yep. But you know what? I'm a Jags fan. I'm putting my money on where my mouth is. We're gonna beat the Texans at home.
And it's a weird thing with the Texans. They
have our number.
They have our number, man. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Even when they're bad, and they've been good, these past 2 years, notwithstanding, they've been pretty good. And that doesn't count. But even when they've been bad, man, they
still take it to us.
They've been, a lot of teams have, but even when we've been sort of mediocre, they tearing us up. So yeah, but I'm trying to be optimistic here. And I think that we're going to turn this thing around. I have a hard time thinking Davis Mills is a great quarterback. And a lot of this stuff comes down to the important position on the field. And I think Trevor Lawrence takes that next step. The eye test, the stats sucked last year, but everything around him was just chaos. And so my expectation is he's going to look like the guy we drafted or that we thought we were drafting. And to me, it comes down to, we should have the better team on paper by far, really. And we have the better quarterback. So and we're at home. So if we can't beat this team, I don't know what to say. Then we're in for another one of those. It's Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely possible. All right, so you have that as a win. Yes, you do. I can see. Yep. I got it as a win as well.
We're at 3-2 now.
Yep. All right, so we roll into Indy. Week 6.
Yeah,
I have this as a loss.
Me too. And interesting too, because this is now 3 games in between. So we just played Indy. It felt like, and So play Indy.
Yeah.
2.
Now this one is the one where I think if they if they do beat us in week 2, this is the one that we flip.
Depends on how they beat us, though. That's
You
the thing
know,
too. You know.
Well, I'm going to take my approach and say, well, I'm a Jags fan. I got teal color glasses. Even if they win in week 2, like I said, I think in order to beat us, in order to overcome whatever funk they have here in Duval County, it is going to take a Herculean effort. And at that point, they blow their load and they have nothing left for the rest of the season, which I'd be okay with too. However, I would like to win just to keep that streak alive so that just like the Texans, have our number, we have some other team's number who, for some reason, we're the hump. They can't get over the hump and we're the hump. And I'm okay with that. But if they win in week 2, I think we take this one in week 6. I know it's at their home, but still.
Yeah, and I have them beating us here. And they're also coming back from a Denver trip, so kind of thinking, playing in Mile High as the away team's tough. That's one of the difficult stadiums, and coming home, I think it's going to be much easier. It's going to feel like weights taken off their shoulders. So I think they're going to have a little bit more pep in their step. So I think that's going to propel them to beat us.
Yeah, and I agree. I have this as a loss for us. So week 7 against the New York Giants. I almost said Jets, but we play them too. I was getting confused in what week.
Yeah.
Even
this is
though
a win
I have
for
it
me.
in front of
We're just
my
a better
face,
team.
I agree, man. Outside of Saquon Barkley, I don't know who else they got.
Yeah. And and who knows if he's going to ever be back,
Yep.
He's been struggling the last couple of years, and like I said, we're going to be a team that I think it's going to be hard to run on us.
Yeah, and so, Daniel Jones does not scare me. In fact, he's fighting for his job, so he doesn't scare a lot of people.
Yeah, my thought going into this season is the teams that have the really good quarterbacks are the ones that are going to beat us. If it turns out and we are a professional football team again, then that will be the type of team that it appears that we will be. That's the foundation that's being laid. So it's going to be a shootout a little bit between Lawrence and some of these more experienced quarterbacks that he'll probably end up losing, but this team, not Daniel Jones, he doesn't appear to have that in his arsenal. So not that I'm a Daniel Jones, not that I've watched a lot of his stuff, but So then we have Denver at home.
This is the London game.
London.
It's the London game. This is why I have them as a win. I have Jacksonville taking this against the Mile High opponent. Yep, they have Russell Wilson. Yep, I think they have a better receiving core. I don't know a damn thing about their defense. So
it's good. It just hasn't been what it has been in the past years, but it's good. I think the Russell Wilson, this comes down to the quarterback for me again. I just think Russell Wilson, the Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to take Wilson in this one. Now I'm close. This is another one of these games that I can see us sneaking a win. Just London is in our favor, even though it's I don't know what you call that, home game, but not really type thing. So, but we are a little bit better at that sort of stuff, it seems like, and so maybe we can find a way to contain Wilson. But Wilson would be the type of quarterback that I think could give the defense that I'm expecting some problems, some
trouble. Yeah. And I agree. I just think, like I said, I just think because for some reason it's overseas, I thought we could have beat Denver last year. We probably could have had Urban Meyer not been the coach. Probably could have won one or two of those games had they actually ran James Robinson.
Russell Wilson-less Denver.
Yeah. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. We didn't. And now we're going up against the team that's got Russell Wilson. Well, so they're better, but hopefully so are we. And again, the only reason I'm picking them is, and again, the Denver is in that next tier. So if we want to beat them, we have to hopefully get some jet lag. They have to come in with some jet lag. We have to have something on our side to help push us over the fact that they're just I think they're a better team than we are.
That's a fair way to look at it.
All right, week 9. We had the Raiders. The autumn
Las
win
Vegas Raiders
is a Raider. Ooh, does that still mean the autumn win is a Raider, or has that changed?
That's a good question.
And I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if I'm a Raider fan if I want to give that up.
Yeah. Well, the sad part is that if you look at our schedule here, it almost looks like we have 3 home games in a row. But truth is we don't have we have no home games in a row.
Yeah, we don't have back-to-back home games.
Yeah. And
all right, so I have this as a loss. I have the Raiders coming in, and I have them beating us. Now Derek Carr, I don't think is a great quarterback, but I think he's serviceable.
He's good. He's good.
They got Devontae Adams. They have who is their tight end? They have the tight end.
Waller.
They have Waller. They have pretty good D. They have a good running game.
Yeah.
I think again, I put them in that next tier above us, and I just think they're going to beat us. So I got this as a loss.
Well, I don't want to spoil what I have. Of course, I've got it up here anyway, but I have us losing the AFC West. I've got us. I just think that's the best division in football, and we are the Jaguars. So I'm not gonna, but while I'm speaking about that, let me just say this. I do think it's interesting that the 2 teams that scare me the most out of that division, we are on the road, which seems like a bad thing. But the more I thought about it, the better I felt about that, was because the 2 teams that we have some possibility of maybe beating, we're not playing them in their house. So to me, that gives us a little bit more of a chance to maybe steal one of those games, but I still have us 0-for-4 against the AFC West.
I have us beating Denver, but I have us losing to the other 3.
Yeah.
So
which could happen. It could happen. That's the one. I mean, that one or the Raiders to me. Then we go to KC.
All right. So week 10, Arrowhead. It is the Chiefs. What do you got? I think this one's pretty easy.
Well, for all the things, if I hadn't set that up, this is Mahomes. I know that he lost Tyreek Hill, but I don't think that's going to change. There's still going to be a passing team that scares people. It scares me in that respect. If we're a great team stopping the run, I don't think they're going to care. Andy Reid can manufacture all sorts of things, short passes, screens, things that are going to attain those things that you could substitute for running plays. So I really think it's going to be one of those games where, this could be a little bit of a lopsided affair, if I'm being honest about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a loss as well. I don't have the Chiefs. I have as 2 tiers above us because they're that good of a team. They're coached that well. And now while
they aren't the Buffalo Bills, who apparently we can beat.
Yeah. and while Doug Peterson is from the Andy Reid tree, I don't know if he's got the team, or 2 has the experience to take on and beat the master, if you will.
Right.
So I put this as a loss.
We have the Padawan, right?
Week 11, which is actually pretty late in the season for a bye week, which I like.
Doug Peterson asked for this. I was kind of upset that we didn't have the bye week after the London trip
game
before or whatever, but he wanted it this way. So it's like, okay, maybe he's got a plan.
Yeah, and I'm not too upset. Like I said, I'm not too upset with it. I think a late round bye is pretty good. However, I have us losing the bye week. Why? Because we're the Jags.
That's right.
All right, Frank, I see it. So let's motor through this. Week 12, the Ravens. What do you got?
I got us winning this one, and I have us winning it because we're on a bye. And I've sort of set this up. So I think we got an extra week to prepare for these guys. We are at home. And although Lamar Jackson is a very dynamic quarterback, he is a lot of it comes from his ability to run. I feel like our defense can match up well against him, keep him in the pocket, make him a passer, and that doesn't scare me. I think we can steal a win there.
I have this as a loss because I think the Ravens are a better team than they were last year. They were decimated by injuries, and I think we're going to see
that's
that.
a good point too.
So
yeah,
I have this
how
as
bad
a loss.
Injuries were for them.
All right, moving on. Week 13, the Lions.
Yeah, this is the Trayvon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson Bowl.
Yep.
But really, this is going to come down to Jared Goff versus Trevor Lawrence, and I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence.
I agree. I'm taking Trevor Lawrence.
So it's simple as that. We're going to go in and we're going to steal this victory. And
you're right, because I think the Lions they had a good draft, but I don't think those players are going to affect too much. Not talking about Aiden Hutchinson, but I'm talking about the other guys that they got. We had potentially a good draft, but maybe the rest of the backfield don't. I agree. I think it comes down to quarterback, and I'm taking Trevor Lawrence. Week 14, Tennessee.
Tennessee, man, I'm not going to give us a victory against Tennessee I just don't have it that way. I don't have the cards laying out. I want to see it.
You know what? If our defense is so good against the run, this will be where we see it. I went in as a Jags fan. I said, no, Tennessee, no, not this year. And I went ahead and I gave us this win.
I hope it turns out that way.
I hope it does too.
I'm willing it this way. I'm like, I'm going to throw losses until they win. You know, I'm trying to push the mojo the other direction.
I can't argue with that. Week 15, the Cowboys.
Cowboys are a good team, man. They're a well-rounded team. I think that even though it's at home for us, I think this is one of the teams that I know they get made fun of and stuff for postseason stuff, but I feel like this is a really good team. They got a really good defense, and that's a well-rounded offense. I could see them coming in here and beating us. They're just a better team than we are, or than I expect us to be. And that's
I have this as a loss, but for me, this could very well also be a win. The Cowboys have like a split personality disorder where they're the exact team that you said that they look like us. They're the complete opposite. They're discombobulated. Shit's all messed up. I don't really understand it. I'm not a huge Dak guy, but Dak is good enough. So, I think they're in that next tier ahead of us. So I put this as a loss. Week 16 against the Jets.
I have us winning this, partly because I think, again, I'm going based on the quarterback. I don't think the Jets, although the Jets they're an ascending team, I don't think their starting point is great. So I'm going to say, even though they're a similar team to us and they're at home, I'm going to give us the win because I feel like Trevor Lawrence, in my mind, is clearly the better quarterback than Zach Wilson. Very similar seasons, but if you watch the two play, I felt like Lawrence was a product of his environment, and I don't think Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson was more the cause of a little bit more of the cause, and I don't have as much trust in Zach Wilson as being this great quarterback. So I got Lawrence going into New York and winning again.
I think we're a slightly better team than they are, and I think we have the better quarterback. So I do have the Jags rolling into I want to say the Meadowlands, but I don't think that's right. I have the Jags beating the Jets. All right, week 17, we have the Texans.
I got this as a loss, man. It just seems like
as a loss too. I think it's smart to say we split with this team because there ain't no way we're good enough to sweep them. It would be nice, but I see
it's just a mathematical thing. I mean, it doesn't make sense scheme. It's just you gotta split it because we just don't seem to be that much of a better team than they are, and we're going to their house now. You got to give it to them. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, me too. Okay, week 18, finish off the seasons with the vaunted Titans.
Yep, we started the first half of the season with
hopefully
the
it's Titan against Titan.
Ending it with the Titans. I will say this though, my expectation is it was a new regime for us. You know, I do have a starting well, but I think it's going to start to get a little sloppy. But I think we'll start rounding into a better team. I just don't know that we're going to beat the Titans. Again, it's not that I think the Titans are great. I think our matchup is probably favorable as it could be. But I do like the grit of that team. And it's just hard for me as a jaded Jag fan, and I'm repeating myself, but you know, it is at home, the end of the season. I'm hopeful we'll win, but I got it as a loss.
I got it as a loss too. I think we went in there and I think we stole one from them early on. And I think they're going to remember that and they're back for vengeance. Could we beat them again? Maybe. It really depends on Tannehill. They don't have any receivers that scare me. They do have heart. They do play with a lot of heart. But I put it down as a loss just because, again, 50-50 is about the way to go. And they're 2 tiers above us, if I have to call it. All right, so I have them as 8 wins as an 8-9 season. However, I can easily see us losing to Denver and to that Tennessee game, which would put us at 6 wins. Vegas odds has us at 6.5 wins. I think that's fair. I think that's good. I think that's right I think that's probably a little above where we deserve to be. You know, you can make a case for 4 wins based off our history. You know, so
yeah, I think Vegas is doing what everybody else is doing to a certain extent. They're attempting to look at the offseason. I think Doug Peterson's probably given us 2 wins or so, at least in Vegas's mind. You know, everything that happened, and the hope. One of the hopes for us, I think, with everything that's happened, I feel like Groundhog Day, just saying, you know, you always find a reason to hope that this next season won't be like the last season. And so maybe I'm doing that in this respect, but the fact that everything was just so discombobulated last year that, you know, this refreshing feeling that some of these players that dealt with that last year will have now being in this season might translate to a propellant of sorts to really move us further along than expected. Is that a little bit of what Vegas is thinking? You know, maybe. But it is about right. I mean, I think that I've got us winning 7 games. So that's, you know, 6.5. They're splitting between 6 and 7 games. Vegas is. So you're even more bullish on it than I am. But
here's why, because I think Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback that I believe he is, that I've seen flashes of it. I think he got better as the season went on. So I think he's either going to be really good or he's going to be good. And I think Doug Peterson actually does help him. I think he knows how to run an NFL team. I hope that my hope is that we no longer see these teams who just get blowout, who look like they belong in the college ranks. So, and that's what I think. I think with a better quarterback and a better front office coaching, I think we're going to be just fine. So
it remains to be seen. That's what makes this fun. So
you said this is fun. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for you tonight. I'm going to leave you with a Duval. Bye.
Guys.
Thank you.